Ministry of Agriculture meets stakeholders to establish protocol of weaning and hardening of banana plantlets. The National Youth Council hosts its first Youth Caucus, and April 2nd recognized as World Autism Awareness Day. Welcome to this edition of National Focus. I'm Kerdisha St. Louis.
And I'm Tasia Floissac. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others after this.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is two courts in one? The CCJ has two functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Thanks for staying with us. The Ministry of Agriculture is putting things in place to ensure that proper protocol is followed for the weaning and hardening of banana tissue culture plantlets expected to be on island by April 7th. These plants were secured from France under the Banana Accompanying Measures BAMA program. Officials of the ministry met with stakeholders on Tuesday to discuss the expectations of the process of weaning and hardening of the plantlets.
This project is part of the technical assistance provided by the BAM, the Banana Accompanying Measures, supported by the European Union, part of an overall project for pilot project to enhance the capacity of fair trade, DAPEX, and small subsistence farmers. So this afternoon, what we're going to do is to go over the protocol so everyone involved in the weaning and hardening process will be clear on the procedure that we are going to involve.
Head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit, Ryan Ansel, says these banana plantlets have been verified and are free of any disease or pathogens. They are also the varieties preferred on the UK market. Weaning and hardening involves the nursing of plantlets to prepare for final transplanting onto beds. That process will take place at the Smart Greenhouse at 1 Mile Agriculture Station in Portsmouth. The ministry will also receive assistance from the Chinese Agricultural Mission, who has provided 700 seedling trees for weaning and hardening.
The Smart Greenhouse is a very good control, temperatured, regulated temperature that is, and it will also provide timely irrigation for the weaning of the 20,000 plantlets.
Stakeholders at the discussion included farmers and officials from Fairtrade and Winfresh and other Ministry of Agriculture and BAM officials. The head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit assures that the project is significant as it will improve Dominica's competitiveness on the market.
It is one step in improving the capacity of Fairtrade, specifically Fairtrade, and DAPEX farmers in ensuring that we have marketable bananas in the future, in the near future that is. We've also working with a strategic plan of action where we have targeted specific farmers, commercial farmers, to do 5 acres and will be producing approximately 15 boxes per acre on a weekly basis. So again, part of our program moving forward is to work with all the major stakeholders to regain our market share in the UK market and continue to export to Antigua, Barbados.
The weaning and hardening process is expected to commence on April 8th. Well, Tasia, once again, we see that the government, is promoting the diversification of agriculture, and it's not something to take very lightly because, the importation of these plantlets, which is just the first phase of a lot more to go shows that they are pushing agriculture and farming in Dominica.
Yes, that's right. But not only diversification. Right now, we are challenged by the black sigatoka disease, and our quantity on the market is decreasing. So to me, it's a very commendable move by government to invest in agriculture like this. Because Ryan Ansem, the director of Plant Protection and Quarantine, said some time back that our bananas are actually preferred on the UK market, but the problem is quantity. So it just shows how much government is willing to go, how far they're willing to invest in this so that Dominica succeeds. Because we know that the banana industry, or bananas on a whole, have played a major part in our economy. They have, it impacts a number of sectors, from agriculture to tourism to commerce. So it really aids in providing economic stability in Dominica.
And that's right. And, you know, not just that sector of the banana area that government is focusing on, but government is also focusing on, you know, in terms of access to farms, you know, the availability of fertilizer for farmers. They're really pushing. So I'm hoping that, you know, the young farmers out there, those that are just starting out in the industry, will take the initiative to get back on board with the banana agriculture industry.
Yeah, it really is good news, especially like you said, for young farmers who are looking to get into the field. You know, right now they say that people are actually trying to leave, but government is doing their best to get the economy back to where it was, to get bananas back to where they were.
And we commend the government for that.
Very much indeed. In more news, the executive of the National Youth Council, NYC, is seeking to obtain better governance and improved functionality through its youth caucus. The quarterly caucus held its first sitting on Saturday at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. President of the National Youth Council, Senator Josiah Benoit, explains the purpose of the caucus.
The National Youth Council Quarterly Youth Caucus is a high-powered forum to review and evaluate the work plan and working documents of the National Youth Council. That would include our institutional strengthening strategy as well as the executive agenda. And this review will be conducted by all three tiers of the management structure of the NYC. That would be the executive board at the national level, district youth councils at the various district levels, and also registered youth groups. So you have all three levels of management present within that forum, and we have also taken the opportunity to invite service clubs as well as clubs registered with the State College. So with that level of oversight as to the work plan that we set out with, we think it will be better to monitor the work of the NYC on an ongoing basis and to identify best practices as well as exchange ideas as to how we can strengthen districts that may be more challenged in a particular area.
The Youth Caucus consists of 3 sessions: the opening ceremony, business sessions, and reporting sessions. The NYC president says a lot of positives have come out of the first meeting.
To see that most of the district youth councils that have been re-established in the last quarter of 2014 have remained functional and have kept to their work plan to the greatest extent possible. Many of them were challenged pretty much by resource limitations. And that just speaks to the fact that once you empower young persons, if they have the right resources, they can, you know, remain committed to the task of volunteerism and youth empowerment. One of the major positives from the caucus was also, I would say, a raised interest from the service clubs and clubs within the Dominica State College to get more involved in the work of the council. Because in this instance, they were invited as observers. However, by the second plenary session, they were voicing, you know, openly that they would like to participate more actively in the caucus, recognizing the quality of the forum itself. So we're looking forward to learning from this first occurrence of the caucus and improve for the second hosting of the Youth Caucus.
At least one of the districts is already reporting on their work plans for the new year.
We're going to have a garbage receptacle billing every month where we're trying to target at least one community within our northern district. And we also want to have youth forums. We also want to have different workshops like protocol, etiquette, first aid.
The NYC president outlined other work plans from different districts.
I'm very sure that the Northeast District is keen on capacity building with respect to skills training. So they'd like to receive training in the areas of glass cutting, of other forms of artwork, you know, that can be marketed through our tourism industry. Also in the North, there's a keen interest in terms of grassroots outreach particularly to church-based clubs, as well as waste management programs to enhance waste management in that district. In the West, it's more varied, where you have the young persons focusing on getting more involved in the physical environment, preserving the physical environment, as well as capacity building, because they're working very closely with the youth division in terms of multidisciplinary leadership. And so we have a new cadre of trained leaders that will be passing on their skills to their peers.
Another executive member of the council, Anna Lewis, wants more districts represented at Youth Caucus.
Sometimes you have some districts who are here reporting and then others who are not here, so it puts us at a dead end. So we want, everybody to come and voice their opinions and to just mingle with us as the National Youth Council of Dominica.
You're watching National Focus. Still to come, the Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Cottage constituency, Honorable Reginald Austri, attributes the DLP's success to unity among its members. Stay with us.
There is a silent, invisible killer in our midst, a killer which largely goes unnoticed as it plies its deadly trade. Its name is secondhand tobacco smoke, which has a far greater impact on persons inhaling this poison than on smokers themselves. Secondhand tobacco smoke is especially detrimental in public places and negatively impacts our national health as well as public health expenditure. Stop this invisible killer now. Say no to secondhand tobacco smoke in public places. A public health message brought to you by the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
Welcome back. On April 2nd, the world will turn its attention to those affected by autism disorder. World Autism Awareness Day was designated by the United Nations in 2007 to bring light to the issues that affect persons suffering from the disorder and to work to improve their quality of life. Autism, simply put, is a mental disorder that mainly affects one's social skills. The disorder is usually noticed in early childhood with children who are withdrawn, express aggression, or who have problems communicating effectively. GIS News recently spoke with Beverly LeBlanc, director of the Achievement Learning Center, a school which caters to children with special needs.
Let's just expound a little bit on what we were just talking about, how you recognize the signs and symptoms and the different things that would allow you to see that your child may be affected by that disability.
One of the symptoms that is the most common one in terms of eye contact. The child will not have eye contact. The child will not do will not reach certain milestone like cooing, asking you to be hugged because they're in their own world. The child may be just obsessed with a particular one. They may just see a child, all they want to be is flapping, a lot of tantrums. If you change routine, if their child is used to a particular routine and you change that routine, the child may throw a tantrum. But one of the most common ones in terms of the eye contact, social cues, they have no fear of danger. So a child with autism will just run across the road. They have no fear of danger. They're in their own world. And then so as a parent or as a caregiver, as a teacher, you have to be so much aware. So it's aware to know that you have to protect that child.
This year, Autism Awareness will be recognized with the theme Employment, the Autism Advantage, as it is estimated that over 80% of adults affected by autism are unemployed. As for awareness in Dominica, LeBlanc says people are increasingly curious about the disorder.
More and more the awareness is being created, and what I have noticed is as parents, as persons are reading more and researching more, and they are recognizing the signs and the symptoms, that is determining realize, oh, probably that's what my child had. There was a parent who called this morning. She knew her child had a disability, and it's only recent as she started to research more, she realized, oh, that's what my child had. So it is something that we are becoming more aware of. It is a spectrum, so every child on the spectrum will not be displaying the same types of behavior. We just have to understand them. Once we understand, we read the information. We now live in an age where there's much more information available now than we had later on. And there are so many practical things that we can do with these children. So then as the awareness is created and as parents are becoming more aware of what autism is and the signs and the symptoms. They are becoming more accepted of the fact that a child may have autism and seeking help for the child.
At the center, we also met Elise Johnson-Aga, mother of 8-year-old student Connor. She spoke to GIS about her experience with her son.
We recognized that he wasn't so mainstream, you might say. He had behavioral issues, like he could get angry and aggressive sometimes. He wasn't very verbal, and we discovered that he had blocked ears. So we have a little surgery, fix that up, get speech therapy, but there was still some issues. And the more I learned about it, I really didn't understand what is autism, and I thought maybe more Down syndrome or something. But then I came to learn that it's a range of, this is why they call it a spectrum, a range of disorders that include behavioral things like maybe less eye contact, a sleeplessness, and actually a lot of bowel control issues, anger, aggression, stress, as stressors. And then I started to understand what was stressing him. And it might be more so food was a real issue for him. It's a struggle. Just one thing to add is that you often feel as a parent like you're not disciplining them, and people look at you and, bad parenting and naughty child. And it's very frustrating. At least we have an older sister, Gabrielle, and I can say, I'm the same parent. It's the same parenting, But I have to learn other techniques because what worked for her doesn't work for him.
Her son has been attending the Achievement Learning Center for about 2 months, and she says she has seen great progress. Aga advises parents who may be concerned about their children's odd behavior to research the disorder and seek help for the child. Libla gives this invaluable advice to those parents who are already affected by autism.
You have to see the child first and the disability after, regardless of what disability the child has. And he's not an autistic child. He's not a Down syndrome child. He's a child with autism. He's a child with Down syndrome. Having a child when you have a child, you cannot take the child back. You cannot choose what child you're going to have. You can choose what macaroni. You can choose to buy Davy macaroni, Kraft macaroni, but you cannot choose what child you have. One other thing I tell parents, see your child as a gift, because there may be some things in you, and see yourself as a special parent. God may have 2 children in heaven, and he said he's going to send one down on earth, and he chose you to give that child.
This year, the center collaborated with the Rotary Club of Dominica and hosted a fun day at the grounds of the Public Service Union last Saturday in recognition of Autism Awareness Day.
Also this news time, the Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Cottage constituency, Reginald Austrie, says the strength of the ruling Dominica Labour Party government lies in the unity of its members. Honorable Austrie made the remark as he called in to a live television discussion at GIS Studios on Tuesday. The discussion, dubbed Dominica Since Independence, Politics and Foreign Affairs, was hosted by Senior Information Officer Mervyn Paul.
We have been able to maintain a cohesive framework, a cohesive thinking within the cabinet and within the government. Now, you would have known in recent times when it comes to the region where the parties have exploded from within because of difference in personalities or different in ideologies, different in styles and so on. And so I believe that one of the great successes of this government is that we have been able to remain united as a political force, even coming from diverse political aspirations, diverse political philosophies. But we have been able to remain united over the last 20 years of the Dominican Labour Party reign in government. And I believe that that has been a major factor in the success of the Dominican Labour Party.
Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Labour Party, Dr. Philbert Aaron, who was a guest on Tuesday night's program, fully endorsed the views of the Cottage MP.
A lack of unity in the ruling party, especially, has major implications for the stability of the country. And the unity of the Labour Party as a party has been especially tested, but it has shown itself to be firm because you had those 3 changes. You had Rosie Douglas, as we mentioned, Pierre Charles, as we mentioned, and Roosevelt Skerrit. And the unity, the thing that remained across these three gentlemen is the party. And we already mentioned the other challenges. That happening during one of the weakest administrations, that is a clear indication of unity. Well, now we have another call.
Tuesday's discussion will be repeated at 11 p.m. on Wednesday and 6:30 on Thursday morning.
In more news, the Honorable Minister for Public Works, Ian Pinard, is reporting that works on the Roseau and Portsmouth enhancement projects are set to commence soon. Speaking on the state-owned DBS radio today, the Honorable Minister indicated that contracts for these projects are being finalized. Honorable Pinard spoke specifically to plans for the first phase of the Roseau enhancement project.
The first phase is the construction of the West Bridge. We will demolish the West Bridge and we'll build a brand new bridge and replace the West Bridge, and also look at the roads and sidewalks on Independence Street. So that'll be the first phase of the project, and after we'll go into the other phases of that project in terms of the different streets.
The Honorable Public Works Minister is confident that upon completion of these projects, these two towns will be premier settlements in the Caribbean.
That's the intention. The intention is to have Roseau as one of the most beautiful and majestic cities in the Caribbean. And I think by starting the Roseau enhancement project, we're going to see a lot of that. And not only Roseau, it's both Roseau and Portsmouth. So we're looking at. So this after the completion of the project, you'll have a new and transformed city of Roseau.
GIS will bring you more details on these projects in a subsequent newscast. Coming up next, your tip of the day.
Wash your hands. I am Adora Tuse, health educator from the Ministry of Health. Proper hand washing protects against the spread of many common illnesses and germs. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or you may use a hand sanitizer. Remember, clean hands save lives. Protect yourself.
A message from the Health Promotion of the Ministry of Health.
Healthy eating is not about strict dietary limitations or depriving yourself of foods you love. Rather, it's about feeling great, having more energy, improving your outlook, and stabilizing your mood. Here are some tips you can use to have a better diet. 1. Prepare more of your own meals. Cooking more meals at home can help you take charge of what you're eating and better monitor exactly what goes into your food.
Make the right changes. When cutting back on unhealthy foods in your diet, it's important to replace them with healthy alternatives. And finally, drink plenty of water. Water helps flush our systems of waste product and toxins, yet many people go through life dehydrated, causing tiredness, low energy, and headaches. It's common to mistake thirst for hunger, so staying well hydrated will also help you make healthier food choices. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gisdominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on the past National Focus newscast on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Desk, I'm Tasia Floissac.
And I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Thanks for watching, and do join us again next time on National Focus.